You're too fat. You're too independent. You're too strong. You're too bossy. You're way too loud. You're too happy. Yep, you've guessed it. I'm talking about how to deal with discrimination. People can discriminate against you based on your age, disability, gender reassignment, marriage, pregnancy, race, religion, and sex. They can also discriminate against you directly or indirectly. They can harass you or victimize you. These are all forms of discrimination. So today I want to discuss how we deal with discrimination. Let's go. Hey Royal Family, thank you for choosing the front row with myself, Roanna Moodley, and today we're talking about how I deal with discrimination. Discrimination is the act of making unjustified distinctions between human beings. It is just that, unjustified and ridiculous. Discrimination in the workplace can be extremely stressful, and more often than not, you can feel like you are hitting a dead end, especially if the person that is discriminating against you is your boss. Here's how you can deal with discrimination in the workplace. Remove emotion. More often than not, and I have been a victim of this many times, where we always play to our emotions. And usually it is an emotion called anger. So when you're angry, you act on those emotions, and anger never ever solves the matter. So when you remove the emotion from the discriminator, it starts letting you or allowing you to think clearly about what it is that you're being discriminated on, and if you actually are being discriminated, and you can really think clearly and create mental awareness for the discrimination. The next thing you want to do to deal with discrimination in the workplace is to record everything. Date, time, place, emails, screenshots, recordings, whatever you can get your hands on to give you proof of the discrimination in case it gets to a situation where it's really bad and now you're in a lawsuit that you have to fight. So it's very important that you document every event because you don't want it to be hearsay, and you also need proof of discrimination. Consider alternatives. You always want to look at what is your plan B or what is your other option when you are being discriminated. Do you need to seek HR help? And if HR is not willing to help you or is unable to help you, do you foresee yourself staying in the company long term? Do you think it might be healthier for yourself as well as your mind to remove yourself from the situation, either doing a transfer of departments or a change of jobs? If you are feeling discriminated, if you are feeling stressed, if you are feeling put down, if you are feeling like you are being unfairly treated, this is a serious matter. And if it cannot be resolved, then there must be an alternative solution. Report discrimination. So often people do not report discrimination. I have been one of those people. I have been discriminated so many times, but I have never gone into HR and reported it. Yes, there were instances in my particular case where HR was not the right place to go to because I would be compromised if I did share the discrimination experience, but there are other ways of reporting the discrimination case, especially if it gets to a point where it is unbearable or it is infringing on your mental health, your stress levels, and your actual performance output. Be mindful of retaliation. When you confront someone who is discriminating against you, more often than not, they will not realize that they're actually being discriminating, or they would become hostile to you and further discriminate you and become more aggressive in their discrimination. So it's very important to be aware of the fact that if you do have to confront the situation, things can get a little out of hand. Also, if you're not someone that would be confrontational, if you report the matter to someone, then that also could cause some havoc in the environment, in the space you're working. Get outside help to protect your case. Now, there's so many bodies that help you with the discrimination case. Here in South Africa, we can report it to CCMA or the Labour Department. And overseas, I'm pretty sure that there's similar methods as well. It is important that you know your rights as a working person or an employee to understand what steps you need to take to win a case, should it get to that point. Some types of discrimination is not very obvious. And this is when it becomes a little bit difficult, especially when we're talking about discrimination with kids, because a lot of the time children don't know that they're being discriminated. You can be discriminated against by a teacher, you could be discriminated against by fellow pupils. Bullying is a form of discrimination. Within the age, race, sex sector, there can be discrimination amongst kids as well. And knowing how to deal with discrimination when it comes to your kids is very, very important. Here's how you can do it. The most important thing to do is to tell your parents or a guidance counselor if you are a child who is being discriminated against by your parents, and your parents are not people that you can approach or talk to about. Go to your guidance counselor, go to your favorite teacher, go to your aunt or uncle, go to an older sibling, talk to someone who can help you. Find a trusted friend to talk to. More often than not, when there are cases of abuse and sexual harassment, a lot of the times when a child is facing this kind of turmoil, a trusted friend can be a good solution to help this child to get through a discrimination crisis. Keep talking until someone listens. If you speak to someone and they're not interested, go to the next person. Someone will eventually listen to your plea and they will help you. There are lots of good people out there and they will listen to your discrimination problem. If a fight starts, don't get involved. If it gets to a point where it's physical, you're going to get hurt, try your best to step away from the situation or not be involved in it. I get it that sometimes there are cases where bullying occurs and the bully would entice you to just fight, or even if you're avoiding the fight, they would get you involved anyway. In those instances, it's important to remain calm and try and get away as quick as possible and seek adult supervision. It is very important for you to stand up firm, especially when you are being discriminated, but also be respectful in how you do it. Remember, the person who is discriminating against you is not a good person and they are rude, and you don't want to stoop to their level of behaving. Say that you don't like what they're saying to you, but say it in a respectful manner. When dealing with discrimination, it is important to remember that you are not the problem, and that the person doing the discriminating is ill-informed and doesn't know any better. Resolution in a peaceful manner is always the right solution, and it is always better to resolve something without being angry, as hard as it can be. Keep focusing on your strengths and keep motivated. There are bad people who like to do unjustified things to you, and they like to say unjustified things to you. And what I find is the most powerful thing for me is just to ignore it. And if it gets to a point where it's unbearable, where it really is making it a toxic environment, then seek help. I hope this video has helped you. I decided to talk about discrimination in the workplace and discrimination with kids because I find through my experience, those are the two very, very popular types of discrimination. And I really hope that in doing a video like this, it can make someone better if you are a discriminator, or help you to find some kind of resolution. I wish you all the best. Stay motivated, stay good, and be humble. If you haven't by now, please do subscribe to my channel and click the thumbs up if you liked this video, and also the comment below. I want to hear your thoughts. If you've been a victim of discrimination, I also want to hear your story. And until the next video, keep it royal.